Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'd like to welcome everyone to Moxie's 30-minute webinar, Guided Self-Service, the Oriental Trading Story. I have a few items to cover, and then we will get started. During this webinar, all lines will be muted to provide better sound quality for participants. We are recording the entire event, and the recording and related materials will be distributed to all attendees via email tomorrow. We've also reserved some time for Q&A at the end of the session. You can enter your questions in the WebEx chat panel at any time during the event, and I will queue them up for our presenters to answer at the conclusion of today's presentation. You should already see a few entries from me there in the chat panel, so you know you're in the right spot. So now let's get started. Today we have two guest speakers from Oriental Trading on the call, Scott Pribble, Product Manager of E-Commerce, and Josh Odell, Senior Analytics Supervisor. But first, to kick us off, I'll turn it over to Prescott Wright, Product Manager at Moxie, for an introduction. Prescott, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today. If your house is anything like mine, with a couple of kids, you'll undoubtedly be familiar with Oriental Trading Company. Just this weekend, my daughter was at a pool party with what looked to be probably 100 blow-up beach balls of every possible different size that came from Oriental Trading. I think that's a great example of where else would you find something like that except at Oriental Trading. But not only do they have great products, Oriental Trading is renowned for their customer service. They are consistently ranked one of the top 20 internet retailers based upon customer satisfaction. Today, we're going to share some of their secrets and talk about how they use Moxie to be so successful. For those of you who aren't familiar with Moxie, we make it easy for customers to do business with you. Our live chat, self-service, and email offerings let you engage with customers digitally just as you would in person. Our suite of products, collectively called Concierge, helps to drive product awareness, encourages purchases, and enables you to provide post-sale support. When a customer arrives on your site, Concierge monitors them and can intelligently leverage your agents for live chats. Concierge can also provide information and answer questions without using your agent. And let me dig into that last point a little bit more, because it's really exciting. This is what we call Kbot. It's brand new, it's unique to Moxie, and it lets you engage with your customers by proactively pushing information to them based upon their behavior. For example, Kbot can recognize an error message in a checkout flow and proactively help that customer by giving them information. Or it can recognize a question the visitor asked when starting a chat and automatically respond without needing an agent. It lets you engage with many more people than if you were relying solely on your agents, and because it automates many simple, repetitive questions, it leaves your agents free for higher value, more complicated interactions. Kbot can also direct your visitors to the self-service portal. And that's the focus of today's webinar, as we'll discuss the self-service portal experience and how it can be leveraged to provide world-class service and learn from Oriental Trading. So what does it take to deliver a great self-service experience? Why aren't more companies as successful as Oriental Trading is in pleasing their customers? I think there's three big challenges facing companies today who are trying to improve self-service. Here at Moxie, we put our passion and our energy into solving these problems for our clients. The first problem is that most self-service portals were implemented before mobile became such an important factor. A lot of companies have ineffective, siloed, or sometimes non-existent self-service portals on mobile devices. So we're going to talk to you about how Moxie enables you to provide an extremely effective self-service portal that works across phones, tablets, and the desktop. The second problem is that historically, reporting hasn't really answered the questions that you, as someone responsible for self-service, have needed answered. Our new reporting suite has been designed to help identify struggle and give you actionable information to improve your self-service experience. We're going to dig into the new reports and the information they help to surface. And problem three is that too often self-service portals are deployed and then they're frozen in time without any further updates, because it's too difficult to get engineering resources or funding for professional services to make further changes. Our latest release introduces a new portal builder tool that returns control of the portal to you, a business user. You can easily make changes to the portal with point-and-click, drag-and-drop interface as your needs evolve over time. Let's take a look at each of these in more detail. So a lot of companies have done a great job of optimizing their website for mobile devices. It's usually easy to browse information, to buy products, sign up for services, but too frequently that web self-service experience has been neglected. Sometimes web self-service isn't even available on a mobile device. Sometimes it's only a subset of the desktop content with just a few FAQs. Sometimes you have to have a completely separate mobile portal that you need to create and maintain separately from the desktop portal. Or other times it just doesn't work on mobile devices, and you really need to be an expert to know how to set it up correctly. And this has presented a real problem because, as shown as these recent statistics from Microsoft, many customers start their search for support from their mobile devices. Companies that haven't optimized their self-service strategy are not only driving customers to more expensive channels, such as the phone, but they're also harming their brand's reputation. And conversely, those companies that have made mobile self-service a priority are rewarded with lower costs and increased customer satisfaction. Josh and Scott are going to be sharing some statistics from their site on the growth of mobile, and it's impressive. And I think they'd be willing to admit that their prior self-service portal didn't work very well on the mobile devices, which is one of the reasons they were interested in upgrading to our latest release. As they saw tremendous growth to their website for mobile devices, they realized they also need to focus on improving that mobile self-service experience. Our portal enables you to provide that same information that's available on desktop, on phones, and tablets. And every aspect of the experience has been optimized for the mobile device. In some ways that might be expected, such as automatically resizing images, but also in deeper ways, such as shortening descriptions, breaking up long lists of articles or categories into a more concise form, and optimizing the navigation and speed in which the pages are loaded. And really the best part is that you don't need to be a mobile expert or do anything different as an admin to get this great mobile experience, as it's included out of the box. The same portal works on all devices with a unique experience tailored to whether the visitor is on desktop, tablet, or phone. Moxie, it couldn't be easier. Our new reporting suite helps you to understand usage of your self-service portals and identifies where you can make improvements to make them more effective. In a past lifetime, using a different vendor's product to manage the knowledge base and self-service portals, I would often have to export reports into Excel, copy and paste from different systems, manually run searches, as well as having to bring in subject matter experts on specific topics. It was really manual, it took a lot of time, it was error-prone, and at best, I could only optimize really a small subset of that content. So we've taken struggles like that and we built the solution into the product. So that, for example, our new search report not only uncovers gaps in your content, searches where no articles are returned, but it also returns a struggle score for each search. This new metric lets you identify searches where content's being returned, but it's not effectively answering customers' questions, as evidenced by the visitor having to view multiple articles for the same search. For example, maybe I do a search and I view an article, doesn't answer my question. I go back to the search results. I view another article. Nope, still doesn't answer my question. I go back to the search results, view a third article. Maybe I have my answer, maybe I just give up and leave, or maybe I give you a phone call at that point. At this point, that struggle score would show 3, in the sense that I view 3 articles for that same search. This lets you very easily highlight places on your site where people are struggling to find the information they need, so you can add or update content to make it more effective. We also highlight articles that need to be improved, as evidenced by low ratings or by direct customer feedback. Overall, we give you the tools to easily monitor and respond to how customers are using your portals, so you can implement changes to make them more effective. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about our Portal Builder tool. Our Portal Builder was designed for folks such as Josh, who's a senior analytics supervisor, and Scott, who's an e-commerce product manager. They have a great grasp of their business needs, but they're not developers. The tool enables the portal's building blocks, what we call widgets, to be dragged and dropped onto the screen and rearranged very easily by business stakeholders. I actually went out to Omaha, Nebraska, and spent a day and a half getting Josh and Scott started with the portal. And on the second day, I remember looking over and seeing Scott actually configuring a portal for one of their other brands all on his own. After about a day of training, he was off and running. And it's because we make it so easy to update the portal to highlight specific information or change behavior with that simple point-and-click configuration. Also, thanks to a built-in test environment, changes can be implemented, reviewed, and then published to production with a press of a button. No longer do you need to set up a separate test environment and then manually move changes between test and production, which is slow and error-prone. Certainly, just like Oriental Trading Company, many organizations will also want to include their designers in the process to make the portal match their brand's look and feel. In our new Portal Builder tool, your designers have full access to the portal styles within the tool. And because the look and feel can be implemented without a customization using the Portal Builder, you won't incur additional charges or difficulty upgrading. But you don't have to take my word for it. I think I've already been talking for too long. So let me turn you over to Scott to walk you through the Oriental trading story.
Hey everybody, again, just to introduce myself, my name's Scott Pribble. I'm a e-com product manager with the Oriental Trading Company. The first slide we'll go through, if you want to skip on to the next one. First slide we'll go to is just give you a little background about our company. So as you can see, our company was actually established in 1932 in Omaha, Nebraska. That makes it, we've been around for 85 years, and obviously the internet hasn't been around for that long. But our business was really built on cataloging. So for decades and decades, the core of our sales came from, being a primary catalog and a cataloging retailer out there until, the web really started to take off. So we've kind of seen a really dramatic shift in our business since the inception of the internet. And really over the last 5 to 10 years, we've started to really focus on, our digital channels and our website and how we can essentially provide better customer experiences when people come to shop on our site. Along with that growth, again, from the cataloging to the web, we've seen our web sales become the primary driver of our business and the sales that we have. So we're about an 80-20 split now from a web to catalog perspective, whereas 10, 20 years ago it was primarily all catalog. In looking at our customer experiences, as everyone on the web is really focused on, self-help has really kind of come to the forefront. And, with as great as our customer service is from a phone, email, and chat perspective, we knew that there was better experiences that we could present to the customer from, an online self-help perspective. If you want to kick on to the next slide. So these are really, just kind of some general engagement strategies that we look at. What we're really focused on is driving strategies related to the customer experience. We have several tools out there that we use today to gather customer feedback that are coming in, on a daily basis, surveys, opinion labs, feedback coming from our call center, et cetera. So we're always on top of, what our customer, kind of voice of customer is. And we've got internal processes that kind of push that back to guys like me in the product management and those responsible for the customer experience. As calls come in, Josh's team does a great job of tracking issues and things like that on the internet, and that they can pass to us to really take a look at. And again, just to say that, from a customer experience perspective, we really took a look at our self-help environment and decided that, it was really time for an upgrade. And so we've had a relationship with Moxie for probably about the last 6 or 7 years. And when Prescott kind of approached us and started talking about upgrades, it really kind of excited us in the sense of, it was going to be an easy way to improve the customer experience by fostering the existing relationship that we had and the tools that they built on top of their, previous platform. So when Prescott actually, kind of approached us and started talking about it, we really kind of decided that we were ready to make the jump into this new self-help portal that they've got out there. If you want to go on to the next slide. I'll turn it over to Josh.
Thanks. So I'm Josh Odell. I'm the Senior Analytics Supervisor in the call center here. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is, in terms of efficiency and budget, is really kind of the world that I live in. So that was definitely my primary interest when I was looking at our self-help portal. So in terms of digital channels, a lot of the literature that you read around customer service is about offering choice. Some customers prefer one way over another, and some of them have such strong preferences that it can even influence where they're shopping at. I know that, just anecdotally, I've not gone places that only offer a phone option. I want to have that chat or email option myself. And so that's definitely where we were focusing on with our customers. So we have some self-service options. We have chat and email, and we also have an option on our website that you can fill in your information, and one of our chat agents actually will give you a call back, and that way you're not waiting on hold on the phone. In terms of driving traffic, we definitely love it when customers contact us through chat and email. It tends to be about a fourth to a third the cost of a call. A big part of that, and we'll talk more about that later too, but a big part of that is the efficiency is so much higher on chat and email. An email obviously is much quicker than a phone call. It can take 1 to 2 minutes versus a 5 to 7 minute phone call. And then obviously with chat, we utilize the option to have one chat agent handling up to 3 chats at once. Even with those efficiencies, though, we definitely have a drive to more self-service. As cheap as a chat or an email is, if a customer's preference is self-service, that's really where we're talking about, pennies per interaction, and that's really where the biggest savings are. And if we can also hit the customer preferences, that's, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. That's definitely where we want to be. If you'd go to the next slide. So like Prescott was mentioning, we really liked the knowledge-based platform because it was very flexible. I'm not tech savvy enough to know CSS and HTML and all that, but the platform is flexible enough to where if you have that ability, you can definitely make some great changes in your platform, but if you don't, you can still do whatever you need to do on it. So that was definitely attractive to us. It's also natively responsive, so it instantly translates to our mobile customers, and more of our traffic every year is coming through mobile. A lot of customers, that's their only access to the internet, and so having something that works for them is definitely a huge priority for us. It's also just in general easy to configure and administer. The amount of time that I've spent doing it, and we have it pretty well fleshed out even in terms of content, but the amount of time I've spent is pretty minuscule compared to how much time we have coaching agents and everything in the call center. A lot of it is set it and forget it, which is immensely valuable for us. And then through the widgets the Prescott had mentioned, we can make most of the common questions really easily accessible. And you can see there in the screenshot, the shipping, returns and refunds links being right there, that probably handles 80% of our customers' questions. And so having that be right up front, and then they click one of those links, click another link, and they have their answer, versus them having to find our phone number, call us, wait on hold, get through the IVR, all that stuff. It's a much better customer experience, and we've definitely seen that in our feedback that we collect. If you go to the next slide. So we do have our self-service portal on all OTC sites. So something that we've done over the last 8 months now is we've tried to launch some new brands. So we've broken out our educational business and our wedding business into separate brands called Learn 365 and Marry Me, respectively. And that's so that we can, bring up topics and items that are more relevant to those customers versus throwing everything on one site. And so one of the big advantages to the portal is that we are able to set content differently for each of those brands. When they access the self-service portal, it's styled to that brand using whatever colors and fonts that we have on the rest of the website. So the customer really, unless they look at the URL, isn't going to notice that they're not on our actual site anymore. And then in terms of the actual content, we're able to configure it so that if there's a different phone number for a different brand, that we can show that different phone number depending on where they entered the self-service portal through. And then obviously all the reporting on that follows through too, so we can see if wedding customers have different types of questions than educational customers and what we might need to do to service them better. And then you kind of get back to the cost issue. One of the big advantages for the knowledge base for us is with chat deflection. Before we had a really knowledge base that was this functional, we had a lot of chats that were pretty simple, just customers that were on a mobile, and so they couldn't really access our knowledge base, so they would get on chat and ask a simple question, like if we charge sales tax to their state, for example. Since we've been able to roll out the new knowledge base, we've seen a lot of questions that would have come through chat are going through our knowledge base again. And that's definitely where we want it to be because, like I said, it's easier for the customer and it's cheaper for us. It's really a win-win all around. And then we're also, on the same topic of sales tax, we're able to offer contextual help. So the way that we're using this is if you put an item in your cart on our website, there's going to be a sales tax estimate that pops up there. If you click the question mark next to it, it launches right into the knowledge base article on sales tax. And so the information's right there. They don't have to do any searching. They don't have to do any clicking on subcategories or anything like that, really. It's just right there. And so we utilize that throughout the checkout process and throughout the website to provide content to the customers. Scott, if you want to take the next two.
Yep. Go on to the next slide. Oh, you can go ahead and, okay, good. Just to talk a little bit about the implementation part, as Josh kind of alluded to, our business has grown a little bit from a brand perspective. So we started out with 2 brands and now we've quickly expanded into 4. And so really, as we were getting ready for the expansion, we thought it was a good time for the upgrade to actually take place. And as we went through the process of actually implementing the new upgraded self-help portal, the one thing that I really was pretty impressed with was the kind of the ease of use and the simplicity of actually creating the new portals. So again, as Josh alluded to, each new brand comes with new fonts, new color schemes, new CSS, et cetera. And really, by making the upgrade and moving into the new admin portal, it really, we could go through, click on a few buttons and have a new portal created that then we could start to style and work with as it was specific to each individual brand. So what was easy with OTC and Mindware in a dual-branded portal, we are actually at 4 new sites, 4 separate portals. All of those portals are able to both share content as well as have specific content within them. So that was really, really exciting for us. The other thing too is the actual implementation on the site. Once we actually created the portals and we provided the URLs to those portals, and once we published them out to the web, it really took our UX team to go in, find the links that we wanted to change, and then update the URLs to point to the new portal. So the implementation overall, given dedicated resources to what you were trying to accomplish, really only took a few days to go from, creating a brand new portal, styling that portal, adjusting the content, assuming the content was already out there, and then and publishing that to the site. So it made it really, really easy for us to do that. If you want to go on to the next slide.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, chat, email, self-service, it's all very cost-effective and efficient. Obviously, there's the upfront cost of having the system itself, but I can tell you it's more than paid for itself many times over with the efficiencies that we've gotten from it. Also, in terms of preferences, and this goes to customer preferences, but then also employee preferences. As our demographic is trying to skew a little bit younger, we've seen that a lot more people are interested in options like chat and email, and that, again, is both employee and customer side. The customers don't want to pick up the phone, wait on hold for who knows how long from their perspective. And then on our side, we're able to recruit at colleges and at a younger age levels than we had been before, because we have this option of chat and email, and that's where a lot of younger employees feel more comfortable. In terms of training, Moxie is a very straightforward platform. We train them on the system, which takes about maybe an hour, hour and a half per class to really get to know everything in it. And then we spend a little bit more training on, the differences between how you would chat with someone via text versus chat with someone over the phone. Obviously, stuff like context and tone is different there. So, but the platform itself is very straightforward and easy to understand, easy to train for. And then, as we've seen over the last several years, email is definitely a growing mobile channel. We have our contact form on our website that generates an email to Moxie, and our chat agents reply in there, and it goes back to the customer via email. And we've seen more and more demand for that basically every year since we've launched the system. And again, it hits at that place where we're being more efficient, and then we're also satisfying the customer's needs.
Yep. Take on to the next slide, please. All right, so this is just a quick summary. I want to give you a couple minutes for questions. But really, again, we've expanded our brands. We went from 2 to 4 over the course of the last 6 months. We were able to upgrade our existing Moxie portal and platform into the new admin portal. It's really provided us a lot of flexibility in order to do what we need to do in order to support all of our new brands. Implementation, very, very simple. Again, just a few days if you've got the resources on hand in order to get a portal from, actually creating it with the different widgets that you want to use, and then pushing that all the way to the site. The other piece of it that we really like is, the ability for the business to manage it more so than our IT or development resources. It really puts a lot of onus and ownership on the business side of things to handle content, handle the creation of the portals, and really what type of content they want to present within each portal. And then just as Josh talked about as well, the mobile piece is becoming a greater part of our business. Our traffic is we're seeing about 50-50 on the mobile side at this point in time. So it was really important to us to address that mobile experience. And the new admin and the new upgrade that we did really allows us to do that without having to do a ton of development work. So we were really, really excited with that. So again, I think that wraps it up from our part. We're really excited. We're kind of on this new journey with this new portal, and we're really excited about what it presents to us. And as our business continues to expand, I think from our perspective, it will allow us to, again, take ownership from a business perspective and really kind of drive self-service on the site, which we haven't had a ton of that in the past.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh and Scott, for the presentation. That was excellent. So just in summary, Moxie provides a broad suite of tools to engage with your customers to help sell products and provide outstanding support. We've looked at one portion of that product, which is a self-service portal. The larger tool set includes live chat, email management, and the very exciting new Kbot functionality. So I'm not sure if we have a minute or two for questions, or we may be out of time. I'll turn it over to you, Gillian.
We're out of time, but there were some questions that came in that we will follow up with offline, because I know several of you had questions, so I will make sure that we get those answered offline. One question that did come up a couple of times that I wanted to point out too is that the recording and slides will be emailed to all of you guys that attended by tomorrow. Of course, if you have any other questions that you did not get a chance to ask, you are welcome to use any of those channels that you see on there through email, use our concierge tool on our website, gomoxie.com. And of course, for those customers that we had on, you're welcome to reach out to your account manager. But for any that were entered in the chat, we will follow up with you personally in the next couple of days. All right, thank you so much. Josh and Scott, thank you again for joining. Thoroughly enjoyed it.